the UK and a bunch of places over here, it was the starting situation for Shalamar. And so like, he said, well, you're at the Motown building, right? I said, yeah. He said, well, where are you? I said, I'm up on in an office on the 15th floor. He said, well, he said Solar's offices are in that same building on the ninth floor. He said, and we've talked to Dick Griffey, who owns
Yeah,
Solar,
yeah.
and he said he's just waiting for you to get in touch with him. And so like, he said you get in touch with him, he'll reiterate what I just offered you. So I get off the phone, right? And I tell the guys, Jeffrey Bowen and Angelo Bond, the Motown people, I tell them what the deal was. I said that was Jeffrey Daniel from Shalamar, with Solar Records and stuff. And and I remember, I think it was Angelo. Angelo said something like, he says, well, Shalamar is nothing but a fly-by-night disco group. They'll never amount to anything. You don't want to get involved with them. Solar will never be a Motown and blah 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 blah. So I'm just listening, right? And Jeffrey Bowen starts talking. I'm just kind of listening. And so when they get done talking, I said, well, my car is parked on the street. I got to go and put some money in the meter so I don't get a ticket, right? And
And go
so
downstairs.
I went straight down to the ninth floor, right? And got in, talked to Dick. Dick Griffey, he reiterated what Jeff said, and like, he said we want to offer you equal position in the group as lead singer. And so, like, I told him, I said, well, let me. He said, I said I'm interested, but let me, give these people upstairs a chance to, rectify this whole thing because, even though we hadn't signed contracts, it was still my
Yeah,
word
yeah.
that we had been working together for like 2 or 3 months. So like, I call them, tell them what to do. I said, hey, I'll be home. If you guys want to rectify this thing, call me. I'll be home all night. Nobody calls, right? So the next morning, Saturday morning, I called Dick Griffey and then I go over to his house. And I remember sitting in this rocking chair and I watched a videotape of a Shalamar show, right? With Jeffrey, Jody, and Gerald Brown. And so I watched the videotape and I'm sitting in this chair. And then Dick says, well, sing something. Jeffrey and Jody say you're a great singer. Sing something, right? And I'm like, well, just sing something right now, a cappella, just right now. He says, yeah. So I said to myself, I said, well, Lord, me and you, right? And I broke into Feel the Fire by Peebo Bryson, right? And broke into the first verse, something that you told me stayed in my head. You know what I'm saying? But it's higher than that. It's
Yeah, yeah.
early in the morning right now. But I broke into that, got through the first verse, half the hook. Dick says, okay, 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 I'll be right back. Right. He goes upstairs, comes back down. He brings out some cash, only like $500 or something like that. Brings out some cash and he says, here's some cash, leave with your old lady, pay some bills. And then he went into his other pocket and he brought out an airline ticket. He said, that was back in the day. That was before 9/11. I could ride on your ticket. You could ride on my ticket. We didn't have, that's
Yeah,
before
yeah,
you had to have
absolutely.
a specific name. So he has the airline ticket. He says, you got to be on the red eye tonight and meet the group in New Jersey. You'll get to New Jersey. They had moved from New York to New Jersey. He says, you'll get to New Jersey tomorrow, which is Sunday morning. You got to rehearse the lip sync and the choreography to take that to the bank. He said, because Monday, you got a TV show to do. And that's exactly how it went down. I got the offer on Friday. I guess I did a little lightweight audition on Saturday. Saturday night, I was on the red eye. Sunday, we rehearsed all day with me. And I think it was in either Jeffrey's room or Jody's room. And we did the lip sync choreography, did all that. And then Monday, we had this TV show to do in Paterson, New Jersey. It's a little dance, pseudo Soul Train dance show
Yeah.
in Paterson, New Jersey. And then went on, finished up the promotional tour that they were on, and then got back here to LA and started working on the Big Fun album. And then second time around and all that kind of stuff, came out of that.
So, what would you say was Shalamar's biggest hit?
Wow. That's a difficult question. I would say like say second time around was platinum. It was like
Okay.
it went platinum, but I think it was double platinum actually. Um Big Fun album, the first album that I was on with them, that went platinum, gold or platinum, one or the other. And so second time around, I think was really big. Was one of the, as far as selling wise is
Yeah,
concerned,
yeah.
was the biggest hit. Then you have For the Lover in You over here. For the Lover in You was like huge, huge over here. And then you got Make That Move, and you got A Night to Remember. Uh, all that stuff, a bunch of stuff. We did, thank God, man, we did pretty well. We did
You
real
really
well.
did. I mean,
Yeah.
Proper had hits from most of your albums.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They were
Right in the
from all that.
socket. It's like
Yeah.
there were so many singles on the albums,
Yeah.
which
And
is
see
not really common.
yeah, I mean the Friends album, especially over there,
Yeah.
had about five top five hits or something like that on it. I forget how many it was,
Yeah.
but yeah,
There It Is one.
but there's a lot of songs There It Is, I Can Make You Feel Good, a few other things that were hits over there,
Right.
but they weren't hits over here, and vice versa. There's some things that were hits over here that weren't hits over there. So now we do, because we've been doing Shalamar. Me and Jeffrey and I have been doing Shalamar for the last 20 plus years, overseas. And then Carolyn Griffey joined us like about 19, 20 years, maybe 21 years or so ago. But
Oh,
like when
really?
we
As long as
do,
that?
yeah, she's been with the group a lot longer than anybody else was with the group. So it's like we have the problem that we have a lot of times, which is a great, amazing problem to have as a group, is that we have to pick what songs were, you know, popular here when we do shows over here. We can't do the same show that
It's
we
a
did.
different playlist almost.
Yeah, it's a different
Yeah.
playlist and stuff. So, and then vice versa, which, like I said, that's an amazing problem to have as a group. It's like,
Yeah, because it means you got
we,
a selection and it's not boring for you, for want of a better phrase. You're not
yeah,
doing the same show over and over and over again.
over
It
and over again.
changes up. There's some variety and they're all
Yeah,
songs that you love because when you write things, other people might say, oh, I don't like that. That's no good. But the songwriter puts everything into every
what is
song
that?
they
Yeah,
write. You know,
yep, everything.
and
You wear
you
your,
know,
where you
most
wear
songwriter
your.
ever writes a song that they go, oh, I'll just put half of myself in this.
Yeah, I know you always put your best foot forward and your
Yeah,
best creative foot forward, so like, and then plus when I went solo in 88, I think the first solo album came out in 86. Then we had, hits on there like I'm For Real, the song that Stanley
yeah.
Clark and I wrote, and Stay.
Heaven
It was
Sent.
another Heaven Sent wasn't on my first album. That
Okay.
was a that was a single that I did with Stanley. That was the first song that Stanley and I worked on together, and then we went on to do, I'm For Real and other stuff. So then I got that. I got I'm For Real, Heaven Sent. I got, Show Me. I got Once, Twice, Three Times, and a whole bunch of stuff from the so in essence, I have Shalamar stuff,
Yeah.
and then I got the Howard
The
Hewett
solo.
solo
Yeah.
stuff. And so, I mean, some people have careers that are built on one or two hits.
Mhm.
Thank God, my
You
career,
got a good catalog. You have a very good catalog. So was
thank
there
you,
ever
yeah.
a period that you and Jeffrey were doing Shalimar without the third person?
Yeah, when we first started, when we first about 20 something years ago, I remember Jeffrey calling me and he says, "Man, it's some people in Japan want us to come over and do about four or five shows, I forget what the venues were." And so then, we hadn't done anything together for a long time, right? For
Yeah.
a few years. So, we called Jody and said, "Yo, Jody, we got this offer to do these five shows over in Japan. Uh, you want to come, why don't we get together, do it, have some fun, do the old material, make some good money." It was great money, and so like, and then but she was doing her thing, she was doing
Oh,
her
she went
solo thing.
solo, didn't she? Like yourself
Yes.
went solo.
Yeah. Yeah, she was doing her solo thing and didn't feel like it was the right fit for her at that time. So Jeffrey and I just went over. Jeffrey and I went
Okay.
over. We had the I can't remember what was that. I think we had our band from here, and then we all flew over, did the Japan thing. And then that's when Jeffrey and I started doing more shows like in Africa, in the UK, um,
Wow.
different places. And then after we had been doing it for about 2 or 3 years, because I would do that and then I come back home and do my solo thing because I work all the time here with my solo situation. So like, but once Jeffrey and I were doing it for about 3 years, 2 or 3 years, we talked and we wanted to bring that female entity back into the group.
Right.
And that's when there was only one other person that we even considered other than Carolyn at the time because we didn't know exactly what she was doing, what she wanted to do. But the only other person that we had even considered for a short period of time was Saida Garrett, right? And
Right.
so like, we had talked to Saida and, but then Carolyn became available. And with Carolyn's, well, I love her instrument for one thing, her vocals are amazing to me. And she looks good, she does her thing. And plus she had the history of the
Their
group
history,
because,
which
yeah,
will
and
make all the difference, because she probably didn't even really have to rehearse the songs too much because she got them in her head. She'd been
because she had them in her head. Carolyn would tell me the lyrics of things that I had
had
recorded
forgotten.
back in the day because I had forgotten them, right? So we'll be rehearsing or something like that, and they want to do um like was it this one song that I loved, da da dee da 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 da, I forget the name of it, but um uh we started rehearsing it because we were putting it together to be the opening for one of the shows that we were doing a tour for. And man, I could not remember the lyrics of that song to save my life. And Carolyn is the one that, no, 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 this is what it is. She wrote it down. And so, but she knows her history because Shalamar was her favorite group out of, because her dad Solar Records and they had Shalamar, Lakeside Whispers, Dynasty, Carrie Lucas, a whole bunch of acts and stuff. But Shalimar was her favorite group. I have a picture somewhere when she was like about 11, 12 years old. She's like with these pigtails and a Shalimar, shirt,
Really.
t-shirt on. So she was, she bringing the history that she had made her, the
And it's
perfect,
kind of like a dream for her
yeah.
as well, because you're, you know,
Oh
performing with
yeah.
your idols.
Yeah, she said she would say it all the time. She says it all the time, when there's because we all have, put the shows together and I say something at a specific time and she'll talk. Jeffrey does the majority of the talk because I just enjoy doing the old stuff and taking a break from my regular stuff here in the States. And it's always a good thing to go hang out with Carolyn and Jeff. And so, I let Jeff do the majority of the talking during the show. I just do a lot of singing.
So in the States, do you tour doing your solo stuff as well?
Mhm. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I work all the time. I've had a rare like 3 weeks off that I'm in the middle of right now, right? And
Nice.
I was telling my daughter, my daughter lives here at the house with me, and I was telling her the other day I'm starting to get antsy. I get antsy, because I'm used to going all the time, like here at home. I do basically, I'll leave home on Thursday. I'll hit somewhere Friday, Saturday, maybe Sunday, come back home Monday, or hit Friday, Saturday, come back home Sunday. But I'm usually on the road,
Right.
And like I said, I mean, this time of year when my kids were small, then I would clear the whole month of December out and just dedicate that to Christmas and the kids. But now they're all grown and stuff, and so I'll work up until like a week before Christmas or
So
something.
you having been in the industry this long and touring and traveling, how do you find it now on the body?
You know, thank God, Barry, it's like I've been pretty healthy, and the last couple years, I've had a couple little health things that I had to deal with, but I always wondered about that stuff because, I'd never been in the hospital. The only time I'd ever been, spent the night in the hospital when I was 6 years old and I had my tonsils out. And
Right.
back then you had to spend the night. Now it's an
Throw
in
you
and out
out.
procedure,
Throw you
right?
out.
So, but you're gone.
Yeah.
And so like, but I had never, I had never spent the night in the hospital before, but on my 67th birthday, I had a little situation that I had to deal with when I was over in Zurich, Switzerland. I was over there doing some shows, and I had to deal with it then. And I'm like, okay, now how's my body gonna respond to this? How's my body gonna respond to some trauma? And thank God, man, I went through it, breezed through it, and it was cool. And then about a year later, I was working in Louisville. I was supposed to do Louisville, Dover, and Atlanta, right? On the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I fly into Louisville and my stomach is hurting. I'm like, oh man, my stomach's hurting. Long story short, I have the people take me to the hospital and I got appendicitis. And so
Oh,
they had to take my appendix out that night. So you know, uh uh I hate uh not doing shows. I hate canceling shows.
yeah.
I think in
Yeah,
my
because
whole
it's not
career,
a good look. I mean,
yeah,
canceling shows, but it's not a good look. But
and plus there's so much unraveling that has to be done. And the main thing is that people pay their money to go to the show, and then you cancel it. It's like, that's kind of I never felt good about that. So in my career, I probably canceled maybe two shows in my whole career. And
wow,
both times it was because
of health issues, yeah, that
health
were
stuff.
unavoidable.
Yeah, so like but then they scheduled emergency surgery that night. And but they did, and I wondered, okay, I had never been cut on. Nobody ever cut on me. And so like, I wondered how I would, respond to that. And they did, that was on I remember the dates because it was like so crazy. It was April, not this past April, but a year ago, this past April. So April 20th, I went into Louisville. The 21st, they did a scan, saw that it was my appendix. The night of the 21st, they did emergency surgery. So I'm in the hospital in Louisville, Kentucky on the 21st, 22nd, 23rd. They let me out on the 24th, and I flew back home on the 24th, on the 25th rather. Then 26, 27, 28, I was on a plane to Barcelona, Spain. you know, and like I had to do, and I did
Okay.
3 weeks, so in other
Somebody's
words,
setting the bar pretty high here
yeah,
because
I
you're
know.
setting
It's
the bar
like,
pretty high for the rest of us.
I, so like,
Because if
but it
I've
was,
got anything like that going on, believe me, I'm rolling on my bed for like 2 weeks and everybody has to be alerted. Everyone I know has to be alerted.
but I know my kids, my son, especially my son was saying, Pop, you got to chill. You got to take it easy, right? I said, well, because what I was doing in Barcelona, I was doing this thing with Dave Koz. Dave Koz, saxophone player, jazz saxophone player. He does a Dave Koz cruise every year, right? And so like this is the first time I did the cruise with him. There's a bunch of other acts, but the cruise we went from Barcelona, Spain, cruise up Casablanca, Ibiza, Malaga, Spain, the whole thing, then end up in Lisbon, Portugal, and then that ship full of people get off, and then a whole ship full of other people get on, you know, and then we cruise back down the way we came, end up in Barcelona, Spain 7 days later. They get off, a ship full of
So
other
you're
people
literally going
back and forth.
backwards and forwards with new
So
people,
three, so 3 weeks on the ship, right?
going backwards and
And
forwards. Wow.
man, and so like, but the thing was that I only had to do one show a week, right?
Oh,
And
nice.
and then one song a week that this production that David put together. And so like when my son and my kids were talking about, Dad, you need to chill, you need to chill. I said, look, I said they didn't cut me. Yeah, when they took my appendix out, they did a laparoscopic situation. So there
Yeah.
weren't any stitches or anything. And what the doctor said is that I need to chill. I need to. And so I told my kids, I said, now either I chill here at home or I chill on the Mediterranean.
Getting
Here
paid.
at home or the Mediterranean. And I
Getting
get
paid.
paid.
Okay.
So decision made, right? And so like, I do have to say though, when I did get on that plane and flew to Barcelona, I had a connection flight in Heathrow, at the Heathrow Airport in London. And when I got off the plane, I was like, should I have done this? I don't know.
One flight is
But
enough, but a connecting flight, I'm not so sure.
man, I was like, I was like, oh man, because I was feeling kind of crazy. But once I got there, it was really cool.
But
I
I
had a
mean,
great time.
it's not even about the health issues and stuff. It's just that you're not the age now that you were in 1985,
Definitely,
And how
definitely
does it
not.
take its toll on you, the traveling, the backwards and forth? Do you just
Yeah,
feel the same as you always did? No, no different?
I just do the same as I always did. Thank God, uh like I said, I've been pretty healthy through the years, and so like and that's the main thing. I mean, it's like you have to like listen to your body. You got
Yeah.
to listen to what's happening because it's like, okay, and I take time off, maybe a couple weeks here and there or whatever when I need to. But for the most part, man, I love the, still love the interaction with my audience and my audience has been, especially here and for Shalamar over there overseas, the audience has been, a lot of people say, well, when you get the overseas is a lot more loyal than here in the States.
Yeah,
There's
some do
groups
say
that
that.
there's groups that, but I can't say that, Barry. It's like, I can't say that over my overseas audience is more engaged in Howard Hewitt or Shalamar than
Yeah.
they have been over here, because my audience over here has been pretty loyal as far also I thank God for that, because it's like, it's a lot of times your audience kind of dwindles one place and then you can go to another place and pick it up where you need to pick it up. But thank God I've always had
It's been
the
consistent.
yeah, it's been really consistent, and I'm very thankful for that,
So
and I
what more have we
appreciate it.
got to look forward to from the vocal god himself, Howard Hewitt? What have we got to
You
look
know,
forward to?
a lot of people always ask me, are you working on new stuff? Well, yeah, I'm always exploring different things, but as far as like, saying, oh, I got to get in and record some new stuff, people want to hear the hits, they
It's
want to
funny,
hear.
isn't it? Because I mean,
Yeah.
as a musician and a creative, I'm sure you're always
Hmm.
creating bits and doing stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's really difficult for you to break your new stuff because I know when I go to a concert to hear you
Yeah.
guys playing, whoever it may be, I
Hmm.
want to hear the hits on the albums that I bought over the
Yep.
years. Okay.
And just like you bought
And I
them.
want to hear it like I bought it. Don't be trying to sing it in a different key. And
and do oh, I'm gonna add this to it, I'm gonna add
yeah,
that to
don't
it.
add
I mean,
anything.
I I think it's important on some things that you add something that's a little fresh, you know what I'm saying? But before you go into that little fresh stuff, you gotta establish
Stick
what
to
the
the
song
core.
is.
Yeah.
You gotta know. So
But it
so
must be
like
really difficult for you guys to try and break out your new stuff that you might be interested in and you think is great. And you kind of have to think, well, I'm going to slip this one in here, but I have to
yeah.
slip it in between four hits on either side
I
that they love. And I'll slip this one
I,
in. And the
I
audience is
went
like this.
Yeah, I know. Well, I went to a concert one time, and it was very rare because I don't go to a lot of concerts. But this one, it was like, I'm not even going to say what the act was, what the group
Okay.
was, because they're historical. They're still touring, and they're
Alive.
still doing and they're doing great, and they're doing really good. But I went to their show when they were playing here one time. It's been a few years now, a few years ago, but. Um, I mean, when they hit the stage, and because they have hit after hit after hit after hit after hit after hit, literally, and I could go on and on. But when they hit the stage, they hit it with a familiar. People were up from first song, second song, third song, fourth song, fifth song. People were up on their feet the whole thing, and then they went into some new stuff for about 15 minutes. Everybody sat down. They went to the concession stand. They're having conversations exactly just like that.
Yeah,
And
that's
then when
it.
they finish, when they finish that the new stuff, right? Boom. Got back into the hits and they were up on their feet for the rest of the time. And it's like when I'll do a new song, like I'll do my show and there's a new song and well, it's not new right now, but Leon Sylvers and I uh put it
Okay.
together before it was. I think we did it I think in the beginning of COVID, in beginning of the shutdown back in the day. And so like when I do it in my show, you have to figure out how to set it up. How you can do a new song, but you got to set it up the right way, so like the way I set it up is like, I want to do a new song for you, right? And I tell them, I say, I know that sometimes when you do new material, it's almost like singing Japanese because you're not familiar with it.
So
And
you
then
ease them in and you make them
I
feel
either
guilty.
and then I hit them with this. I say, but I know that I'm standing in front of a very sophisticated audience. Isn't that right? So you
Oh,
guys
you
ready for
are
this?
smooth, mister. You are smooth.
And then they love it. They love it because they want to be a part of it. They want to be a part of it, and which is cool because it's a great song. It's a really good song. It's got a nice groove to it, and the whole thing. But you got to when you do new material, you really have to set the audience up for it, and because if they're not familiar with it, they're just gonna sit there. Exactly, just like that. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh,
What
we
is
want to
it?
hear
What is this?
this. So yeah, man. But
Well,
those
listen,
are the
it's
things.
really lovely to talk to you. And I think, and my thing is, I think we should get these stories from you amazing people while you are here,
Right, right.
not somebody else telling your story later on down the line.
See, that's what I want to do. I'm procrastinating, but I have a lot done. But I'm working on a book, on my book, just
Right?
about my life because just like you said, I want to be the one to tell my story. I don't want somebody there every time I see something that somebody has written and trying to tell my story, there's something that's not right. And I have to say, no, it didn't work. It didn't happen like that.
Exactly.
And then they try to tell me, well, it did. I remember. I said, no, I'm the one living this. I'm the one that lived this. You can't
And you see,
tell
that's
me.
why I like to do it this way because it's you telling the story. It's not you
Right.
telling me the story and then me trying to reiterate it with,
Exactly.
my own interpretation of what you're saying. And that's
Yeah.
what's important. But above all, I think it's so inspirational and encouraging for people to hear these stories, people who want
Yeah.
to enter into the industry. Because to
Yeah.
hear that Howard Hewitt, the God that we know, had $34 in his pocket,
hmm
it makes you think, listen, there's a chance for me to do that too.
Yeah, yeah, and there's a
You
way
know,
that you and to tell the story and tell the mindset that you
yeah,
had during that time. Like when people, I tell people all the time that, you know, unfortunately, this is such a subjective business. Like
yeah,
the same thing that worked for me is not going to work for the other person. You
absolutely.
can't. There's no
Template that
yeah,
works.
like
Yeah,
I can't take a pen, a piece of paper, and say, okay, number one, you do this, number two, you do that,
yeah,
number three, you can't do that. The one thing you can be consistent about is your dedication to what you're doing. You have to have that dedication. You have to have, and there's a lot of people that can thrive in that type of environment, and there's a lot of people that can't thrive because it's not just about the music. If you're just doing the music or you're just doing the shows, that's one thing. The doing the music and doing the shows, that's the fun. That's when you have the fun. The work comes in when you have to deal with different people in this business, when you have to deal with certain situations as far as like travel is concerned, as far as checking in and out of hotels, as far as dealing with this executive or that executive or whatever. There's other things that come into play as far as to make a and it's like learning how to take rejection as well. I mean, somebody told me about, this is one business or he was talking about acting. This cat was talking about acting as well. But he said it's the only business that he knows where you can be at the top of your game and still experience rejection because somebody else has an idea of what, but just like the story I told about you know, uh getting the offer on Friday back on the red eye Saturday and all that kind of stuff. And I ask kids when I tell that story, and I'm talking to kids that are interested in music or whatever, or just interested in the stories. I said, now what did you get? What do you get when you think about getting over, when you think about becoming successful? What do you think about? What is the one of the processes that you think about? And a lot of kids would say, well, you have to be in the right place at the right time, you know. Then I tell that story and I say, now I was in the right place at the right time. I said, but there's another part of
Yeah.
that saying that people kind of gloss over and they don't get it. And that's that you have to be in the right place at the right time and be prepared, you
Prepared.
know,
Yeah.
prepared, because you can be in the right place, the right time and not be prepared. Then that time
And what
just passes
the
you by.
saying is actually when preparation meets opportunity.
Opportunity, exactly. And
Yeah, when
so,
preparation meets opportunity.
yeah.
Yeah.
So all those years from the time I was 10 years old when
You
I
were
sang
putting in the
in
work to
church.
prepare you, to get you ready
Exactly. So
for
when
when
that
that, yeah.
when that time came where I had to step in within a matter of, hours, actually, when you look at it, and I had to step in, I was prepared. Thank God I was prepared to take
And
on
as I say,
that
it's a
challenge.
lot. It's about the consistency
Hmm.
and being determined and not giving up because of the rejection. Because
Yep.
Meryl Streep tells this story when she went to a casting and he said, "Now she'll never be anything. She's too ugly."
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
thinking, well, we all know the music industry, fashion, dance, movie industry is brutal,
Yeah.
brutal.
Really,
As you
really, yeah.
say, you have to really learn to let it be
Mhm.
water off a duck's back, or
Water off a duck's back. Somebody told me that a long time ago, and when I was a kid, and I was like, wow, what does that mean? And I really looked at it, and like, it has to be things that you can't let it permeate your spirit,
yeah,
because you know what you want to do. You understand what you want to do. And for me, my spirituality, my belief in God, Christ, the Holy Spirit is the thing that has always kept me, like I said before, going from point A to point B through the X, Y, and Z,
yeah.
you know.
Well, you're
Yep.
doing a great job, and the catalog is huge, and the career
You.
is still going. And
Thank
I
God.
have
Yeah.
had the opportunity to hear them with Shalamar and doing his old solo thing at the
Yeah.
boys there. So, you know, it's the real deal right here. So we had to bring this king to the BTM club to talk to
I,
us. Thank you for your time.
God
And
bless you, man. And I'm on, like they say, the social media thing is the necessary evil today. So you can go on. I got finally got my Facebook fan page back. It had been hacked for about 6 months,
okay,
and finally, Mark Zuckerberg and them did the right thing and helped me get my
jump
page
back.
back. But
Yeah.
but there's so many people out there now that are getting hacked, and with these hackers and the whole thing, that never get their pages back. And I feel for them. I put out a thing to the Facebook
Because you have
Mecca
your fan
Meta.
page and you've got your personal page where you do your lives and stuff.
Well, I do that on the fan page as well.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I hardly go on the personal page. People get mad at me because, oh, you got to add me. You got to add me. I say I'm not hardly ever on there. So the fan page you can add yourself, and so you don't have a limitation as far as, like, for the
Yeah.
personal page it's like 5,000 people or
5,000
something
people.
like that.
Yeah.
And so, like, but on the fan page it's unlimited. So it's the Howard Hewett uh, Facebook fan page, and then Instagram is Howard_Hewett, Hewett, not ITT. They've been trying to get
Okay.
me to spell it ITT since kindergarten, but it's ETT.
You know how to spell your name. It's like my name is Barry, but it's
Yeah,
Barry with an IE.
with
And
the IE. I see that. I saw that. Yeah,
everybody, automatically assumes that I should spell my name with a Y
yeah,
and have the actual temerity to tell me that I'm spelling it wrong. Right. So
and you can sit up there and spell it for some people,
and still
and
write
they'll
wrong.
still put it in. I'm sitting there Hewett, and they'll still write ITT sometimes.
ITT, yeah.
And I'm
They're not
like,
even hearing
dude,
it. Subliminal, they're not even hearing it. It's like, yeah.
it's
Anyway,
funny, man.
thank
It's
you
funny.
very much for your time. We really appreciate seeing you looking so well. And when are you
Thank you,
guys
man.
coming back to the UK?
We actually, my manager was talking to me about some stuff yesterday. There's a couple of festivals that are coming up towards the third or fourth month of next year. Um, I forget
Well,
exactly
it
when
better
it
be in
is,
the
but
warm months because
I
I ain't
know,
knowing if it's the cold months.
man, festivals it has to be in the warm month because
Yeah.
man, it gets cold there. See, that's why I left Ohio initially. When you
Yeah.
say when you say, did you leave Ohio to pursue your music? Ah, I left Ohio to get away from the cold, man. It was cold.
Brilliant.
Winter time, man. I used to, if it wasn't for the houses in between the front porch of the house that I grew up in, my mom and dad's house, and my high school when I started high school, if it wasn't for the houses in between, I would be able to see my high school from my front porch because that's how close it was. And when I started driving in the winter time, I would drive to school every day. I drive from that one block, getting there, slipping and
I
sliding.
was gonna say it
And
would be probably more dangerous to drive than to walk.
but I hated the snow, man. I couldn't stand it,
Okay, we
so
get it. Howard Hewett hates the snow. Okay.
snow out, I'm gone, so
Yeah,
it's
because it
snow,
can be
snow,
bearable. But
yeah.
anyway, you have a wonderful festive season.
Thank
And
you. You too. Happy holidays to you, man, and to your audience, and thank you so much for inviting me on. I enjoyed it very
listen,
much.
it was absolutely my pleasure and honor. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to pretend. I am a fan. So
Ah.
I'm not going to pretend I'm being cool. When I shut this down, I'm going to be jumping around my living room. Okay. I just want you to know I'm a fan.
See, see, I that reminds me of the first time I ever met Prince, right?
Yeah.
Before he passed away, and like, I mean, because as a fan, I was a fan. I am still a fan of
Yeah.
Prince.
Um,
And like when I met him, when I first met him, I was doing a show in Minneapolis, and after the show, I killed him too, man. And what was the killer is that it was a live to track show, so I didn't have my band or anything. It was my live to track situation, and after I got done, I'm in my dressing room drying off, and I get a knock on the door, and I open the door, and it's like chick, the big bodyguard that he used to have, the big
uh,
cat with the big mustache and the white hair. And so I open the door and it's him, and he says, Prince would like to see you. And I said, what? Prince wants to see me? Exactly. I'm starstruck like a big dog, man. So we go up, and when I walk into the little alcove where he's sitting there with his cane and his hat cocked to the side perfectly, And when I walked in, I said, dude, before we get started, I said, oh, I just want to say, I am a fan. I am a fan. I've been a fan since the For You album, and blah blah blah. And that's why I thank God every day that I had so many opportunities and chances and times when we met before he passed away to
yeah.
let him know that I appreciated him. So, and I'm pretty sure he had millions of other people, but
Yeah.
I got a chance to let him know, man, dude, you are the stuff to me.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, when you're a fan, you're a fan. And I remember it happened
Yeah,
to me with Muhammad Ali. One day I was walking up the road and he was in Victoria with a whole group of people. And I'm
yeah,
thinking, what's this group? What's this crowd? And I looked in the middle and there
yeah.
was Muhammad Ali standing up, signing autographs. And I'm telling
See,
you now, all I did was this.
yeah, I know.
And he said, "Would you like me to sign an autograph?"
Yeah,
All now, nothing has come out of my mouth. Nothing came
yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
And I went in my bag. I was looking for a piece of paper, and he, I gave him the piece of paper, and he said, "What's your name?"
Yeah.
I couldn't say it. I was just like, and all he did was just sign love, love from Muhammad Ali, and
Yeah,
and burst into laughter. I mean, he
yeah,
was hysterical because he couldn't even sign my name because I couldn't tell him. I couldn't
yeah.
speak. I was just like that.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell you, I know you we gotta go, but my Muhammad Ali story, right? It's like back in the day, like
You
I
got a
said, my
Muhammad
mom,
Ali story as well.
oh man, this one, because my mom, like I said, my mom was always into doing certain, shows, programs and stuff like events and stuff back in Akron, right? So she calls me one day. She says, "Baby, I want to do an autograph signing thing for this organization, but I want to bring in the lady from 227. Oh man, she's gonna kill me if she sees this. She'll kill me because she's like a dear friend. But she wanted to bring her in, and she said, I want to bring in Muhammad Ali, right?" And I said, "Well, Mom, I don't, I don't have." And she said, "I want you to come in as well, of course, son." So I said, "Well, I don't really. I got to search around for, for people in his camp and whatever." And I knew he knew Dick Griffey, so I kind of,
Yeah.
got with Dick,
Everybody knows Dick
and,
Griffin.
and yeah, I know. And then, long story short, I hooked everybody up, and we all went to Akron and flew into Akron and stuff and signed autographs, had Q&A question and answer thing with people. A real successful event, right? And so we're sitting there after everything was done. We signed autographs and stuff. Everybody is split. And so Ali is sitting there and he says, "So you grew up here in Akron. This is where you grew up, right?" I said, "Yeah, yes, sir. I grew up here in Akron." He says, "Well, I want us to get in the limo. We had a limo that my mom had put together for the whole thing." She said, I want us to get in the limo and I want you to take me to every place you used to hang out when you were a kid here, right?" And man, I said, "Cool," because we got in the limo, man, and like it took us about 2 or 3 hours to do this little, like where
Tour of the
I
town.
used to play, I used to play at these clubs. I took him there, I took him downtown Akron, the whole thing. But Akron's not that big, still even now today. But the reason why it took us like 2 or 3 hours was because everywhere we would go,
You have to stop.
everywhere, man, before, after about 2 or 3, 4, 5 minutes, everybody, it would be a whole crowd of people. He was the most recognizable face in the world. There's nowhere he could go that
And
people
not be
would not
recognized.
recognize him.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. It was crazy, man. And he was an amazing guy, man. He used to always try and do these not he would claim that they were magic tricks, but you could tell, you could always tell how he was doing it, but you didn't have the heart to say, "No, champ, that ain't that." I see how you did. You didn't say that. You would just say, "Ha, ha, ha, ha."
Yeah, that was great. How did you do
That was great. How'd you do that? He always had a thing. He always had a thing where he would put his fingers up to your ear, and he would make his fingers like kind of like that, and he say, That's a cricket. That's a cricket, right?" Like that. And I have a picture. I have a photo of me, my sister, two of my sisters, him, and my cousin, a cousin of mine back in Akron. And I'll send her. I actually sent her the picture about 2 or 3 months ago. And I found it in my phone. But you can see his hand up to her ear like that.
You know
It's like,
exactly what he's
man,
doing.
you know exactly what he's doing. It was amazing. He was an amazing cat, amazing guy.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah,
listen, Farewell again. You take care. We
Thank
look forward to seeing you in London. You see, these interviews can just go on forever because there's
I
so
know.
many
I
stories.
know. We
There's
just
just
we
so many stories.
and we just hit the surface. So
Exactly.
be looking out for that book. I'll finish it one
There
of these
may have
days.
to be a part two. Don't worry.
There we go. Hey,
Be
I'm
a
ready.
part two.
I'm ready. Let me know. Let me know.
I will do. You
All
take
right.
care. All the very best. And thank you so much. It's been an
Best to you
absolute
too, Barry.
honor and pleasure. Thank you.
My pleasure. God bless you, man. Take care. Happy
Take care.
holidays.
All the
All
best.
right. All right.